What is most remarkable is that all the actors who started off with you are currently nowhere in the horizon. They're doing various things, but nobody continues to engage the public and capture their imagination in the manner in which you do.
I wouldn't entirely agree with that.
But that's a fact.
All my colleagues are all working in films. They're doing wonderfully well. Whether it is Dharamji or, well, Dharamji was never my colleague, he was my senior, but he's still working in films. And Shatrughan Sinha, Vinod Khanna, Rishi Kapoor, these are some of the people.
But you're very modest, you know. You're the only one who, a big filmmaker, might even look at the possibility of casting as the main lead at this age. That won't happen with anybody else.
Where is he? Please send him to me as soon as you can. No, but look, they have had a lot many more achievements than I've had. In particular, Shatrughan Sinha and Vinod Khanna. They entered politics, they won elections repeatedly, and still do. And they're in Parliament. And they became ministers in the cabinet, which I was nowhere near. I left politics not knowing it and took it as a failure within 2 years. So they have succeeded where I have not. So I would not, rate them anything. I rate myself below them, but they are above me.
You say they became ministers. Do you at any level feel that maybe you would have also liked to be?
No, I don't know politics. But I think that being a minister of a country as vast and as diversified as India is a huge achievement. And to be able to carry out that job is a very, very difficult thing.
Why do you say that you don't know politics? As somebody who's so aware, as somebody who's so attuned to what's happening?
But that's any common man would be attuned to that. But that doesn't mean I know politics. No, it doesn't. I can be aware of situations. I read the newspapers and I meet people and I know what's going on. And maybe I have my own personal opinion about it. But I would rather keep that personal opinion to myself rather than make it public through a medium like this interview.
You know, one of the things that we've seen very recently, there were these disclosures by the whistleblower in the Bofors case, Sten Lindström, the Swedish whistleblower who exposed the Bofors scandal first 25 years ago. And that's a cross, sir, you've carried for the last two and a half decades. He says that all the stories that were carried at that time about you were all planted by people in the government. Do you get a great sense of redemption, vindication that you were right all along?
My take on this is that something that is finished and over, I really don't want to talk about it or refer to it. But because you brought it up, yes, they were difficult times. And somewhere in the back of our mind, we knew from day one that we were innocent, because we were innocent. We had nothing to do with it. So in a sense, that was the first redemption. Yes, there were many allegations that were thrown at us from all kinds of people and all kinds of departments. We had to bear it, as we had to bear many other things. There were difficult times because you have suddenly become from a person who is loved by the audience to one that is hated by them. You walk on the streets and you get abused. You go to public functions and nobody wants to talk to you.
That happened?
Oh yes, many times. I would be walking on the street or working on a shooting and people would abuse me, call me a traitor of the country. So we've been through all that kind of situations. But I think that the way we went about it, I feel very grateful that I had a family that was strong enough to stand by. And of course, the legal help that we got and finally overcome these allegations in Royal Courts of London. And many of those that had, such sharp accusations against us were present there at the court as witnesses, but never went into the courtroom. They met us outside the court and said, look, these are false allegations and we want to, close this chapter and, let's settle outside the court. And we settled outside.
But do you not want that there be an investigation to find out that who planted those stories, who ruined your name, your reputation and cast those aspersions?
Other than changing a few lines in a book of history, it's not going to mean anything. Because what are you going to do if you do come to know? What can you do? You can't do anything.